Okay.
Okay, we're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, we're all ready now? All right, at this time, we're gonna call the special meeting of June 29th, 2020 to order. City Attorney, do you have anything you want to discuss before we move to closed session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. If the city council so moves, then it will go into closed session to discuss the item agendized for closed session discussion, which is consultation regarding public employment, city manager, pursuant to Government Code section 54957. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to move to closed session? Okay. Sorry. That's all right. There's a motion from Carol, I believe. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I will second that, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now let's all hang up and switch over to the closed session line.
Okay. So when we're on that, I can just click on leave the meeting, right?
Yeah, it should be on right now. Damn, what a mess. This is a mess.
Is Luki wearing his costume from Kristen? His catboy costume. It's really cute with the hood on, but he didn't put it on. We were just playing soccer outside.
How funny.
And then we actually were in City Hall for a little bit because it was too windy to play outside. So we came here. So he's playing in the council chambers with his car.
Well, it's just a Saturday.
Yeah, because we tried to play outside, but it was so windy. And now he won't stop talking about Christine.
really?
It's really funny.
He's so cute. He's such a curl.
Because he was wearing, I had him in like a black t-shirt and shorts, but the shorts were too big. So twice they just fell all the way down. And he's like, Mommy, my pants fell. So I was like, we want to put on your catboy costume. He's like, yeah. So we put it on, and then he didn't want to take it off that night. He wanted to sleep in them, but I wouldn't let him. So luckily he had catboy pajamas, so he changed into those. And then now, yesterday he was wearing the gecko one, and he slept in those last night. Probably still wearing them now, but he keeps saying, "Where'd my Christine go? Where'd my Christine go?" So it was very cute.
That's so cute.
But I mean,
gotta love
she spoiled him. He had a big old bag and he's opening it at Sabrisa's and playing with the toys. And then he gets his lunch, which is like French fries. And Christine's like, "Oh, can I have one?" And he goes like that. And she's all, "Oh, okay." Like, okay. So then I told Lukey, I said,
This is your new normal, John.
she got you all these toys. You can't just give her one French fry. You gotta share. So he looks at his fries and he gets the smallest one. And he goes like that. And then when I said, give her another one, he got one that was like a little burnt crisp.
Oh my God.
And he gave it to her. I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But, you know, kids, man.
Got a big old thing, but I'm only gonna give you
He's like,
two.
"Here's a little person."
And in the
focus. He's like,
It was
oh,
called
shit.
Kane.
I'm like, I know.
Medical mainly?
Yeah, they're all medical, yeah.
Are they like
So he had
accidents or
fun
something,
running
or
around
just
here.
people sick?
Playing with those.
Just people sick, you know?
And then his,
Call.
yeah, it glows in the dark
Yeah.
and lights up,
Yeah.
and so does
But I mean,
his,
You gotta understand, some of them are like,
his cat boy suit.
geriatric.
And he really likes that it has a tail.
You know.
Yeah, so then when I changed him into his pajamas,
Isn't that a cape?
So we go
he
out
he
there
has
and
two shirts that have a
Oh,
cape,
okay, the pajamas don't have.
but,
For some reason, they were like.
the suit doesn't have a cape, but it has a tail. So then when I changed him into his pajamas, he's like, how come there's no tail? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's different.
So yeah,
It's
he's
different.
like
People are
Christine's
attuned
biggest fan now.
with the environment
She's
and,
spoiled
and
him.
are concerned about any little things pertaining to this whole COVID thing, or just a lot more people that are.
They stay up here a while, or a couple hours?
We met at Sabrisa's at 12:30. We probably left there close to 2. Cause
How about
we
you,
ate lunch
Vicky?
and it was too windy. We came here for like an hour and then left.
I took a couple months off,
Yeah,
and now I'm back and
yeah, yeah.
but I took a couple months off.
Sabrisa's was every table outside was
Yeah.
packed.
You know, this-
But it was really windy and we noticed that when the guy came out to spray the table,
I'm not
he's
even worried about
facing the table like this and spraying. The wind's blowing and
At
it's
my
spraying
age,
all over the
that's why I
people
want to
behind him.
Yo, got it.
And I don't think they noticed. So cause they just kept on talking and eating and I'm like, oh my god. I told Christina, like, did you see that? She's
And then I
like, yeah.
realized how fortunate I am.
Spraying all over their food. And I'm like, well, hopefully the wind's like carried
Well,
it.
it just killed all the COVID on
But I
us.
kinda wanted to tell them like when
I'm
it's
calling on
windy,
stuff that
you
people
can't,
stop
you're gonna have to spray a
Yeah.
cloth and then, or
Wow,
some,
no
spray
Yeah,
it
I mean,
inside
you
and then
gotta
walk
wipe
outside
down.
because it's not, it's just gonna blow
I've
everywhere.
been employed for 5 years.
Mhm.
I got people
So-
attacking me,
No, what do you mean?
Sure.
just trying to discredit me.
You can't have that space.
Wow,
First time,
wow, why? I mean,
subject matter, whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
shoot, there was something I was supposed to,
It's easy to.
I need to go look up some stats really quick. Cause I do actually have one report about the
yeah,
new
And then they attack my wife.
contract.
yeah, I get it.
Somebody
I
saying,
hear you.
So it's like, how do you defend yourself against
Yeah.
that?
So, the
Why is she sending that? Did she send it to meetings or to you?
to me,
Army
What the
Reserve,
I'm not,
Lieutenant General Lucky, he's a
I'm
full-time,
not dealing with it.
general, full-time soldier,
First of all,
Real-
they sent it at,
on an article.
Yeah,
that came out on
it would have
YouTube.
been, I would have been pissed if
video
it actually
saying,
was on the agenda and she was
Understand
just
your
sending it
political
now.
space. Know your political
Oh,
space.
there's Cheryl,
because
let me see if
There's
she.
been a lot of backlash on, you know, of course, how the government's run, but he's telling you, you are an American service member. Mind your box. This is your box. You know your battle space, but understand your political space, because people are being vocal and getting kicked out. Because some of the stuff is treasonous, you know, and some of the stuff is so far to the right and so far to the left. He's telling his officers, not his enlisted guys, he's telling his officers, understand your space. You know, if you don't understand your
You took
space,
an oath, dude.
oh, you took an oath. You better understand it. And you know what? Irregardless of, and he said this, irregardless of your political beliefs, the nation still expects for you to do what a service member is going to do. Plain and simple. Yeah. So and not for anything other than this whole COVID thing. This COVID thing exposed a lot of vulnerabilities within our city.
I'm getting
within our
emails
county,
from
within our
Jennifer,
community.
and
And
I sent
I
them
could
back
do about
saying,
another year or two
not
before
gonna
I
happen,
mandatorily.
Well,
first of all, you're saying it
Are
to
you
me,
60, right?
and I
So
have nothing
I
to
put
do
in
with
my packet
well, I'm,
in May and
I
I'm
talked to you
tired
about it
February
before,
because
and like you
I
said,
need
and
both
this is
these
exactly what I
times
told
around
her, that no,
Take
it's
it
not
out twice
an
a month,
arrangement for
twice a month.
presentations,
Alaska, New
that
Jersey.
if the item
New
comes
York.
up and they have questions.
You're
From
gonna
Arizona,
be-
yeah, yeah. So I'll be
But it-
for you.
29
Well,
years.
I'm pissed
29 years.
because she was
It's not
very
bad,
nice when I talked
you
to
know?
her and she's.
I only get 20.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
It's huge.
it's
Not a lot of
ultimately
people
They
the
do
wanna
that.
mayor's
comment.
decision if they
They're
wanna
They're
come
out,
in and he
you know?
I
accepts
was
it.
going for punishment.
Well, we're gonna have to do it without
I
a
walked out after
presentation.
5 and came back in for
Well,
another,
all I'd asked you to do,
Yeah,
Cause they only
was-
got 3 minutes.
but
I hear you.
all I'd asked you to do is
It's brutal.
if she wanted to share her screen, if you could facilitate that, and that's when you told me to have her sign up,
Right,
and that
and
getting irritated. I'm gonna try to call Jennifer right now. I tried calling Michelle, she sent me straight to voicemail, but she sent me another
So
email.
there's too much going on right now.
Assholes on
I mean, you get bombarded with that.
I know, I
demonstrators.
know. I'm gonna go
The
take
thing
care of
started
this.
at 5:30, I mean,
Black animals.
Yeah.
was not even close to being
You
done.
have to stand there and take it.
No understanding of what it is they're complaining about.
Yeah, they're accusing them of betraying their people, betraying this, betraying that.
Wow.
They're pulling their oath to the Constitution,
Yeah.
is what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta give them that, man. It's weird. It's a
Well, both
weird
my
society.
son-in-law retired from the police, and both of them were saying they're glad they are off.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. I got two boys who are cops right now. I'm worried all the time, man. I was worried when my middle son had to take off Jordan for a 6-month tour. But I will say I was a lot more confident that he was gonna be safer out there than he is now a cop in Santa Clara County,
Yeah.
you know?
Hollister's pretty mellow compared to everywhere else.
Yep.
And it's just our isolation, and I think there's,
It's a community attitude too.
yeah, and the police force, I think, is representative of the community it serves.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Racially mixed and everything, and I think that helps. I mean, if it was nothing to race like, there might be an issue.
Yeah, and you know what, that's not intentional, that was by accident. We're very fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah, much of the government, the county is mixed race, and it's worked out well.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. When I
Hey,
was a kid,
Cecilia.
I grew up in California. It wasn't service. I had a-
Yeah. Yep.
Paul, you wanna just kinda say these out?
Had a few,
You want to stick your hand in there?
a lot of
Oh.
Mexicans that,
Yeah.
I just, it didn't.
Well, you're not here right now.
Yeah, right.
It didn't dawn on me at all. Then I went into the Navy, boot camp. First place I ran into.
Really, exactly, man, and same here.
From
Really?
from Philadelphia, from the East Coast. They were all,
Jason's not here either.
huh?
I said, Jason's not here either, to answer your question.
Well,
I went from never doing anything like this to
what
now
about
I'm
that
gonna
thing
run the
about the
whole
flagpole?
What about
She is.
Sent something by,
I got the Zoom in there, I got the Zoom over here, the people emailing me
what's the,
presentation.
oh, what about the
presentation
history?
on the wall.
So
I'm
what is
already
that?
going through the city
yeah,
clerk's
but
office.
they included the order.
I'm irritated because now I can't do anything on this one,
Sure.
and that's where the presentations go.
That,
No, I just think
Jason also,
people
but
follow
the problem is,
directions.
when they did that ordinance, they never put a location in the municipal code, so that's, it's not listed in the municipal code.
So it's not in effect?
The problem is council did come back with a resolution and said, you know, that they approved by resolution, go ahead, so, I mean, councils can make changes.
Sure, has any change been made? That's what I'm talking about.
There's been no change in the ordinance, but what I'm going, so we'll,
So
for
nobody.
future ones, we're gonna have to do get something in this
This is not a
code.
story I want to write. This is a story. Give it to me, it's like, I said, this is a bad fucking sound box.
Is it because there's more than one flag on the pole?
It's like the five flags, right?
Okay.
And a couple of.
Well, you know, it's not up there anymore.
Is it only up to the date? Anyway, a couple of former.
Yeah, council members.
Oh,
So what's in it off of?
They didn't like
Is
the
it the,
claim, but they pointed out that no other flag is
binder?
supposed to be on it except the American
For the
flag or the
presentation.
Liberty flag.
Yeah.
And that's to avoid.
Which city hall did we have in '86?
From the other day, or did you update it?
Was it here? Or was it Old City Hall?
Oh, it was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
The other day? Okay.
Oh,
No, we have two city halls.
Huh?
We have two city halls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because
I'm
it
just
was all
curious.
sideways?
When they talk about.
So,
Oh, no, it's this one, that's what I was asking.
So
But
now
that-
it's
that-
here, I'll
just
show you.
go, oh, if it's that one.
I rotated
I
it
don't wanna
over.
raise this ugly beast.
No,
and
no,
somebody
man,
has
I
to
hear
go on
you.
the record, but these two people are former politicians.
Yeah.
And they weren't like complaining that you brought it up first.
Yeah. And,
Well, and I'd
So
say
it
for
was all
me,
sideways, so I fixed it.
no,
So
fine.
now
Unless
it's,
they're willing to go on the record saying, we
Well, and to a point, we've had it at a council meeting for this, council approved. They could have come and said, this is, you guys have an ordinance, you should.
But, if
Nobody
you
never
remember,
came.
26 more out.
if you remember
We
doing
got the
colors on
binders, so I
base,
know that happens.
no other flag
Oh,
goes up with
yeah.
the national flag.
Yeah.
And then,
If you put the
the
military department that
presentation
you would, Navy,
Brett
Army,
had
or
on
Marine
it,
Corps,
on
it
this
goes
thing.
on a different
We
fold,
have it on
and in the state
Oh.
flag.
But it's only like 10
you
slides
never said
and
the American
hopefully
flag
it's been
is India.
updated and I'm sure he probably updated it from the last time
National standard.
on the
There's
11th.
the flag rule.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
no,
that goes
that's-
with, you know, half staff and things like that, so.
Dude, I don't envy that. I don't envy you for that.
That's,
You can't even imagine.
Serious?
I've stayed off,
Oh,
and
boy.
like, it went to council. It was
Man,
more
can
over.
this get more
They
complicated?
set policy.
And
You can all, all you want. Right. That's their decision.
Wow, I didn't think of that.
I think they're talking about.
But it was on here
Find
though.
out for next year.
Yeah.
The presentation part.
Absolutely.
But, I believe that Seattle flies there all month.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the issue, just
I gotta trick this thing.
Exactly.
Well, that's,
Even if
that's,
the
that's
MIA
the slippery,
goes
that's
on
the slippery
yes,
slope.
the slope, to put it up for,
Right. So one year, flies.
sexual
Oh.
orientation.
Did you already have them?
I think I put them on.
Yeah.
National flag is
I did.
totally unrelated to what that whole.
But actually, I think the ordinance, you should, ask Christine tomorrow for a copy of that ordinance, because that's.
I've got it.
But I think it says no.
Oh, there it is.
Sovereign
Uh,
When I
flag.
turned
Yeah.
that thing on, it screwed it all up.
Accepted.
Yeah.
These aren't even supposed to be.
National flag, field of.
Yeah. So, it's all right here.
Hey, Paul, are you on?
Damn.
You wanna use the small one?
I'm just gonna do a small one.
Is it a small one? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go, you know, does anybody?
Hey
have
Carlos,
any
sorry, I'm in the middle of something real quick, but I'm on.
I just wanted to test my connection, that's all.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Do you like our little
Thought-
seat cover? Okay, no, if we couldn't find these, I was gonna say those seat covers in the rest.
Keep me on.
That would work. So, you want to keep the air conditioning so low, this keeps it'll keep you warm.
Me and Carlos on YouTube, friend.
YouTube, he's on YouTube saying hello. It sounded like Mike. Yeah.
Okay. You know what?
Did those lights come on during the meeting?
I think so.
I have to use flash if they're not on, I know that's.
There's some of the downstairs. Yeah. Oh, the light, rather than.
Brett, it says on the agenda that live streaming may not be available for special meetings. Is this one?
Wait, what?
It says live streaming may not be available for special meetings.
Oh,
Is
but
this one?
It's because CMAP's
Yeah,
not
it's-
here.
It's live streaming on YouTube right now.
They're on YouTube right now. So, Paul's gonna type in your name so that you can just search yourself.
Renee, is someone asking you about the live streaming?
No, she just read it. She read your agenda.
Oh, okay.
Or did somebody ask you?
Lori asked me.
Oh, it's not, the reason why it's not always live streaming for special meetings is because CMAP is scheduled to be here for regular meetings,
Uh-huh.
but not for special.
Oh,
And
okay.
CMAP is the one that live streams it through the TV, and we don't have a
Okay.
way to do that without CMAP.
Oh, I got it.
So, she can, there's a link on the agenda, she can register for Zoom and watch it.
That's what I just sent her.
Yeah.
It's getting that third one pretty hard. Well,
Hey, am I supposed to pause this? It's more likely that I'll forget to unpause.
I'm recording the Zoom. I'm also recording that. It's being recorded in. So it doesn't
At this
matter.
point, it's too late. It's already been recording.
What about the digital thing? You can skip right to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Not like before you had to hit the button, fast forward.
Yeah.
I was convinced this thing started at 6. That's why I was like, not getting the Zoom stuff ready.
I know. I don't like those masks. They're too thick or they just fall down.
See that one? With the patch on it?
I know that one is, I have a medium size and it's too tight. It like suffocates
really?
me. Yeah, so I feel bad because it's really cute, but I need to find a way to like adjust it looser. And even then it's like having a pillow over your face.
Yeah.
Because there's like so many layers. I like these ones because they're just the simple ones. I think are the best.
I like this.
Like a night mask. I saw an ad where it's like you can pull it up and it's like a headband, and then you can put it. But then I'm like, I don't really want something that's been touching my hair and then put it on your face. Like that's just like sounds like it's gonna make my face break out or something. Yeah.
Nella, you wanna tell your guests that there's no public comment?
Is he trying to get in yet,
is it
or?
John? Yeah, they would probably should call code enforcement.
It does say public comment is limited to items on the agenda. So, so.
There is a little concern with this other part.
Let's see.
Huh?
We should get these. Let's
Yeah.
send that to Mike.
Yep.
So Cheryl was saying that that lady, she is gonna make a presentation during the budget if somebody asks her to.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
So
Yeah,
I
no,
was
we-
like,
yeah,
oh,
no,
well, it would have
yeah,
been
no.
nice to have.
Yeah, no, no, it's not. But I expect all staff is, you need to, yeah, you need to send that to all of us. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be my Halloween costume.
Is there a funnier one too? If I can remember.
What was that movie, Bubble Boy or
Yeah, but,
something?
oh, that's Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Moot.
I can't hear anything this time, but.
My consultant, Lori Adams, is on right now, and she wants to possibly comment.
Lori Adams, for which one is it? Is it
She
the
would want
river
the
one?
River Park Trail.
Okay, so Lori Adams.
And she's
So
on-
will she just be talking, like, when you,
she just might want to make a comment
Okay.
if there's a question or something.
so when you get up there and
Okay.
introduce the item, could you say, and we have
Some of
Lori
us are back, I
on
believe.
Zoom, and she can, and then we'll unmute her.
Okay.
Brett, are you there or
Yep,
anyone
I'm
else?
I see everyone except for Councilmember.
I'm here. I'm here.
I don't think the staff.
Brett is on his way,
Looks like we are waiting for honor.
and we are waiting for honor, yes.
No, everybody's remote. Yeah.
I gotta put this empty chairs now.
All that was all.
Okay, let us know when honor gets back on.
Will do.
We're gonna do some.
Looks like honor's on.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you. Everybody's back in?
Yes.
Okay, Brett, is staff all back?
Yes.
All right then. All right, this time we're gonna resume the meeting of June 29th, 2020. Brett, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag
The United States of America.
a nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Resendez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Spencer,
Present.
Mayor Velasquez,
Here.
Councilmember Lenore,
Present.
Interim City Manager Miller,
Present.
City Attorney Epperson,
Here.
Interim Police Chief Reynoso.
Present. Chief.
The agenda for the City of Hollister City Council special meeting of June 29th, 2020 was posted on the bulletin board on June 26, 2020 at 2 p.m. per Government Code Section 54956.
Thank you very much. City Attorney, will you please report off the closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city council met in closed session to discuss the item agendized for closed session discussion, as read into the record prior to moving into closed session. And the result of the closed session was the direction was given to staff, and the city council adjourned from closed session at 6:06 p.m. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, this time we're gonna move to item A1.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, this description is for both A1 and A2. Each year that we're supposed to adopt a appropriations limit, with last year, or actually 2 years ago being 2-year budget, we're behind on our 2019-2020 appropriation limit, and plus we're ready now for our 2021 also appropriation limit. So I ask for that both resolutions be passed at this time.
Okay, is there any questions from council?
Yeah.
Do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speakers.
Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2020-134 as presented.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, 4-0 vote. We'll move to item A2.
Okay. Like I said, just this, like the last one, it's just procedural, and this one is for the 2021 year.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speakers.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept. Go ahead, Roman.
Go ahead. Hunter.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2020-135.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, 4-0. We will move to item A3.
So I'll have Renee present on this one.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. Tonight before you is Resolution 2020-136. On June 24th, 8 bids were received for the River Park Trail project. The lowest bid was received from Clean Cut Landscaping of Clovis, California, in the amount of $1,522,571.50. The other 7 bids ranged from $1.7 million to $2.5 million. Our grant award for the River Park Trail is $1,532,400. We also have $122,592 in activity delivery funds to cover costs associated with the completion of the project, like consultant fees. It's my understanding that the Department of Housing and Community Development is allowing requests for additional funding for projects. I will be putting together a request to the state to see if we are eligible for additional funding due to the complexity of the project. If we are unsuccessful in obtaining additional funding, we will utilize park impact fees. The staff is requesting the City Council do the following: approve Resolution 2020-136, accepting the bids received, award the contract to the lowest responsive bidder, and authorize the interim city manager to execute the contract with Clean Cut Landscape. Approve a supplemental appropriation and authorize the city manager to execute contract change orders not exceeding $228,000 for the timely completion of this project. I also have Lori Adams, our consultant, on the line if you have any questions.
Thank you. Is there any questions from council?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I just am trying to think back, that I know this is a grant. Is this completely 100% fully funded by the grant, or were there some matching funds involved?
The actual project, the bid came in for less than our award amount, so we have a tiny bit left over from the grant award, but we do have other fees, like consulting fees, that will need to be paid for, which is why we're going to see if we can request additional funding to cover those costs.
Do you have like a rough amount? I'm just wanting to know where we're at with that.
We have design engineering fees that are, let's see, $200,000, and we may have additional costs if the project runs over. Those would need to be covered by either park impact fees or additional funding from the state if we are able to get additional funding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions from council?
No, just a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm very excited for this. We don't always do things, we don't do a lot of things, so when I see something like this, I really enjoy it. I think the community will love that trail from Bridge all the way over to the Apricot area, so I'm hoping this will be a good project and get done in a quick time. And thank you, Renee.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Nope.
Do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speakers.
No, but do we have any speaker
Oh.
cards?
There are no speaker cards.
No speakers.
Well, I do want to say, Caroline, I absolutely agree with you. This has been a project long time in the making here, and it's going to be something that definitely will benefit the community.
Yeah.
Exciting. Very exciting.
So I can jump in on that, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
I think this is a very, very important and vital project. It's also going to help to connect the west side of Hollister to Intercon. So I too am very forward. It's a great investment. Our community is going to love it, and I support it a 1,000,000%. I'm looking forward to them getting started right away as well.
Great. Okay, and I'll ask again, is there speaker cards?
There are no other speakers.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 2020-136 as presented.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Exciting. All right, let's move to 4, item A4.
Go ahead, Rick.
It's Renee Perales again. I have Resolution 2020-137. On June 24th, we received 5 bids for the road rehabilitation 1819 project. The lowest bid was received from VSS International of West Sacramento in the amount of $275,120, which includes the additional work on Monterey and First Street. The other 4 bids ranged from $369,203 to $576,986, which also included the added work. Staff is requesting that the City Council approve Resolution 2020-137, accepting the bids, awarding the contract to the lowest responsive bidder, authorize the interim city manager to execute the contract with VSS International, approve a supplemental appropriation, and authorize the city manager to execute contract change orders not exceeding $41,000 for the completion of the project.
Thank you. Is there any questions from council?
Comment?
Go ahead.
Not my usual tirade. I will not be bringing up San Benito Street or Ethel Brett. I just want to say that I'm very appreciative of staff's work when they're doing these studies. There's a lot of criteria that goes in about what's going to get fixed and what order it's going to be, and there's a lot of factors. So I just want to say that I understand, and I want Renee to know, because she really means a lot to me, that when I'm talking like that, like the last meeting, and I'm saying I'm disappointed that San Benito Street isn't getting done, that is in no way a reflection to anything that staff's doing or not done. So I wanted to say, job well done, and I'm really happy to see so much road improvement. I think folks don't realize it. So I'd really like the city to do a little PR out there. Maybe, I know they put it on your website. Folks kind of say we don't do road work, and that just hasn't been the case for the last 4 years. So I wanted to say thank you to staff for the work on this staff report.
Thanks, Carol.
Comment if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and let you know that I too want to see a lot of media coverage over this. Not just this, but I might be stealing your thunder just a little bit, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry if I am. We secured $3.5 million to come to the city immediately so we can do some more road work. I am disappointed to tell you that the county wanted to delay that a little bit, and the mayor and the majority of the party members said, no way, Jose, we're going to get this money to the cities and we're going to get these roads done. So this is something that we really need to get a lot of publicity over, because we are and we have done a lot of work, but negativity and bad press overshadows that. So please, let's get to work. I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for the entire city. And I agree with Councilmember Lenore that we need to cover this in a very positive, upbeat manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speaker cards.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 2020-137 as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank
We're
you.
going to go to item A5.
Okay, Mayor, I'll have the chief speak on this one.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Before you is a resolution with the City Council to authorize the City Manager to enter into an MOU agreement with San Diego County Behavioral Health and the Hollister Police Department. The resolution will authorize authorize the city manager to enter into this agreement to provide services as part of a crisis response team in conjunction with the police department and the behavioral health department. As you know, the 5150 or mental health crisis, people suffering crisis, is a tremendous problem not only in our community but across the nation. And we have been approached by the behavioral health department of San Diego County to join forces and create a crisis response team where a police officer will be assigned along with his team to respond directly to 5150 calls. 5150 calls, for those of you who don't know, is the number of the section of the Welfare and Institution Code which allows an adult who has experienced a health crisis to be involuntarily detained for up to 72 hours for psychiatric hospitalization when evaluated to be a danger to others or himself or herself or gravely disabled. The goal for this crisis response team is not only to reduce the number of 5150s in our community, but also continue with follow-up and other planning and programming that can be done to reach out to the members of our community before they get to this point of crisis. And this agreement will, San Diego County Behavioral Health has agreed to pay up to $160,000 a year to provide the salary and benefits package for a police officer that will be assigned to the team. Okay, do you have any questions?
Any questions from council?
No, I see the funding is reimbursable, correct?
Correct.
That's good with me.
The question I had, and I know it did talk about training in there.
Yes.
Is it training one person or a couple people? How does this work? And is ongoing training, because this is obviously specialized in a lot of ways to de-escalate situations.
Yes, that's an excellent question, Mr. Mayor. We did specifically talk about training. There's actually the amount of 160. It does incorporate possibility of some training there because the top step salaries are on 155. We did talk about providing additional training to this officer that's assigned to the crisis response team. This officer will receive training that is not a usual type of training that officers usually get. It'll be above and beyond that, but we'll also be requiring that officer to come back and be the trainer type of training that he or she will come back and share the knowledge with all the police officers so that we have better response even when that crisis response officer is not working. There's also a possibility of cross-training behavioral health personnel with some police training. We saw the value in teaching them why things happen when we encounter people, maybe some of the tactics that we use and why we use them, and we think it's important also for there to be safety when the crisis response team goes to these locations. It's not only the safety of the person suffering the mental crisis, it's also the safety of the officers and the crisis response team. So there's plenty of training that needs to go around, and we all agree that it is a crucial part of the success of this program.
The other question I had for you, and I wasn't clear on this, this is on the city side, but if there's an incident going on in the county side, does our officer respond to that also, or is side?
Yes, another excellent question. The officer, when working with the crisis response team, when the response team is available to respond, it will go, even if it's a county call. So if there's a county call of a 5150 in, let's say, San Juan Bautista, the response team of being available will respond to that. We will require, though, or request that a deputy respond as they normally would, but our officer, along with the response team, will also go and take the paperwork and take it from there. But it would be important for that deputy to also respond at least until the situation is what we call code forward, until the situation is calm and safe for everyone involved.
But would they have an I guess the question to add to it, would they have an officer trained also? So in case our officer goes, he's trained in this, but the other officer is not trained in it and something were to happen, to make sure it doesn't escalate, how does that work? Have you thought through that yet, or are you still working on those items?
It would be the same kind of training that we've previously mentioned. The trainer, that officer would come back and train our officers. He or she would also be available to train the deputies that would respond, or possibly even the highway patrol officers if they're encountering someone like that. Our goal is to spread as much training as possible, as much knowledge as we can to our entire community.
Right, and I'm just asking this question to make sure, because obviously if you're in a different jurisdiction, who takes the lead and makes sure that we're all having a clear understanding, so there's no incidents that end up happening through this. But I like the idea, and I think it's time that we do implement something like this, so I do think it's a good idea.
If I could just add, it's similar to a team that's being implemented right now in Watsonville Police Department, and other police departments in the state of California are doing similar things as this.
Right, thank you. Any other questions from council?
I do have a couple quick logistic questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chief, so essentially you're going to have one officer. He's going to be a new hire, is that correct?
This will be a new position, yes.
Okay, and then I'm just trying to figure out how this works. So that person is going to get, what, about 40 hours a week, and then are they going to be working around the clock? Or how do you, I mean, is the crisis team only going to respond within certain hours? What does that look like logistically?
In our MOU that's proposed, there is an initial Monday through Friday 8 to 5 schedule, but it's also stipulated in there that we will adjust that schedule to what best benefits the team and the goal of the team to reduce the 5150s. We really
right. So you're going to kind of like a pilot, and then you'll kind of just cater to what the needs of the
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I should add that when this team is not working, we will just fall back to what we currently do now. Our officers will still respond to the calls and take care of it as best they can, similar to what they're doing now. But when the response team is working, we would have enhanced services with the goal to reduce the number of these calls in the future.
And let's say that this, like for some reason, this person's not responding 40 hours a week. So what are they doing when they're not responding to crises?
Yes, that's also an MOU when we're going to be, if they're not responding to 5150 calls, there's training that could be conducting, and then there's weekly evaluations and meetings that are happening within the team, and visits. It's not just we had a 5150 and it was over. We're going to follow through with them and reach out to those people 72 hours after, 3 to 4 days after, we do follow-up. And this is what one of the great things that this response team is doing that doesn't necessarily get done in the past, that we will follow through and reach out to these people and make sure that they are taking advantage of the counseling and the help that's out there to make sure that they don't have another mental crisis again in the future.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I guess I'll hear from the public, Mr. Mayor, and then I'll have a quick statement.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from council?
No.
Okay. Is there any speaker cards on this item?
We had one speaker register for this item, Alan Yamamoto.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, well, good evening to the council, and thank you very much. Ladies. As your city manager has shared with you, you did a very good job of sharing what our program vision is. This is part of the Mental Health Service Act, which was Prop 63, which the city and the county of Hollister passed in November of 2004. So it It will be coming from funds from the Mental Health Service Act, Prop 67. And it's one of the components called prevention and early intervention, quite appropriately named, because what we're looking to do here is we're looking to de-escalate situations before they rise to the level of 5150. And if they should rise to the level of 5150, we want to practice the method of least restrictive setting. And that means basically trying to keep that person in the community, trying to avoid a psychiatric hospitalization. And we think there's a lot of promise for us to be successful at doing that. We think we can reduce the numbers of 5150s that are being written and taken to the hospital by a significant amount. This will be a pilot project, as was mentioned earlier. And as part of the MHSA plan, this plan was posted for public review for the past 30 days. And we did not receive any comment on this specific piece. We will be having a public hearing tomorrow in conjunction with our behavioral health board, and that'll be at 1 o'clock. And we'll give people another opportunity to weigh in on the entire mental health service act plan, which this is a component of. And then I will be taking that plan forward to our board of supervisors, and I will also be taking the MOU to our board of supervisors so they can have their opportunity to review and approve. I think everybody, from what I've heard at this point, seems to be very much in favor of a project like this. And as was mentioned earlier by your city manager, this is a project that does exist in other cities, most typically larger cities. But I think it's very promising practice for us to start in the city of Hollister and perhaps even sometimes out in the county. So I'm for this, and I appreciate your support, and I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any questions for me.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Resendez, you had another comment?
Yeah, very briefly. Thank you, Mr. Yamamoto, for being here and for speaking. Alan Yamamoto can attest to the fact that I was a nurse at San Diego County Behavioral Health from 2004 to 2007. So I just wanted to share with you my experience and insight. I did sit on the crisis team at the time. I went to trainings, and there, as Mr. Yamamoto pointed out, there are other cities, even back then, that have these teams put together. I'm very glad to see that we're bringing it here. I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Yamamoto, for doing that. I do think it's a step in the right direction, but I do think that that there are more issues that we need to look at, and I'm looking forward to starting those conversations. But absolutely, it's better late than never. I'm glad to see this one. I think it's going to be very forward. It's going to be great for our community altogether. But this is not new. This is something that's been done in bigger cities, but I'm, again, grateful to see it beginning here. It's going to do wonders for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank behavioral health. You're very valuable to the community, and I know that you do not get the funding that you deserve and that we all deserve. But I know that the federal government has started to realize that they've simply got to do more. So I want to thank our local county behavioral health for partnering with us for the betterment of not just kids, but anybody that needs mental health. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, thank you very much. Is there a motion?
Sure. Okay.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2021-38.
I'm sorry, say the number again.
2021-38.
Okay. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 4-0 vote. Thank you very much. Let's move to item A6.
Yeah, that one, Nova?
Yeah, I got it. All right, thank you. This is Nova, the Deputy City Clerk, and this item is pretty straightforward. Under California Public Contracts Code, Section 20169, the city is required to publish a notice inviting bids for publication of legal notices for the city of Hollister. But since there's only one sole source available, which is the Hollister Freelance New SV Media. That's the only quote we received. So this resolution will authorize an agreement with New SV Media, which is also known as the Hollister Freelance, for newspaper publication of legal notices for fiscal year 2020-2021. And if anyone has any questions, I'll try and answer them.
Okay, any questions from council?
No,
Do we have any speaker cards on this?
There are no speakers.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 2020-139 as presented.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries, 4-0 vote. We'll move to item A7.
Okay, for our grand finale. Can you please put up the quick presentation? So, as Noah puts up the presentation, this is the same presentation we had the other night, so I'll kind of go through a few of the slides to get to the meat of the budget. Okay, so the big issue that council kind of gave us direction to staff was to cut additional 3% from what was presented. So like we said, with the sales tax estimates that we're going to lose about 1.6 million from our Bradley Burns and then our Measure W. So how we're proposing right now is the personnel costs of 400,000, non-personnel costs, which is your services and supplies, contractual obligations, and is about 385,000. Reallocation of staff, that's moving staff from the general fund to say like your utility funds, will be about 365,000, and then using available reserves of 450,000 to make up the 1.6. So as you can see, that will be for revenues, they've gone down from the previous years. I'm going to kind of go to our expenditures, and you see that we don't have any one-time expenditures. We'll discuss those at mid-year once we kind of see how COVID has affected the city. And then, like I say, just so that for everybody understands that majority of our expenditures, we're a service industry, so 72% is for personnel costs. And that's just the breakdown, which we've seen before, and then that would be by the different departments. And so for our general fund, we're going to end up 3.5 million, so about 13% reserve, which was up from the earlier presentation this month, which would have been about a 10% reserve. We'll still have some for restricted for equipment replacement and then also for economic development. So we'll still have some additional funds around, but that's the main thing. So I would ask that do you have any questions regarding the changes to the budget?
Okay, council, do you have any questions?
No.
I appreciate all your hard work. I know it's difficult, but you did a great job with this, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
Do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speakers.
Okay. Take it back to council. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2020-140, adopting the annual budget for the city of Hollister for the period July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Who made the second?
I second.
Okay, you made motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Is there a
council.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
We'll see you soon.